Okay, so I'm about to start tuning for higher boost in the Silverado. So I'm going into the tune now, and I have to turn off all the fuel adjustments. So under fuel, and this is HP tuners, under the fuel tab, you go to open and closed loop. You select short-term fuel trims to disabled, and then you go also to closed loop enable. We're going to select this whole table. This basically says that at this coolant temperature and this air intake temperature, this is when it would enable closed loop. So we want that to be high so it never goes into closed loop. So we're going to set that to 250 degrees. Okay, so now that won't go into closed loop. And then we're also going to do the long-term fuel trims. We're going to set that the minimum electron or engine coolant temperature. We're going to set that to 250 degrees. So now this will stay in open loop so that there's no fuel. Colton, what are you doing, bud? We also will go to cutoff and de-acceleration fuel cutoff. I've already disabled this, so this is the maximum value for enable temp, so it won't get to that point. We're also going to go into power enrichment, and we're going to make sure that our fuel requested for higher boost is what we want. So this is the boost enrichment table. So when the manifold pressure goes up, so this is higher the boost over here on this axis, this is the requested fuel ratio. So this is a mathematical equation. So you take your 14.7 storage value and you divide that by 1.25, and that gets you your fuel requested. So on the boost enrichment table, the higher the pressure here, the richer the fuel ratio being requested is. So 14.7 divided by 1.25 is around 11.7 air fuel ratio requested. And then you go down here, the higher the boost, the richer we're requesting. I think a 1.33 is around 11.2 on the gas scale. So that looks good. We're also going to go over to the spark table, the high octane. And what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that our timing is low. Okay, so we lowered the timing to 12 degrees for everything over a gram, because that should be pretty safe based on the fuel I'm running. So let's go ahead and take this table. We're going to copy this. Really, buddy? We're going to copy that, and we're going to actually take this and go to the low octane table, and we're going to copy that. So we click on that corner, it highlights the whole table, right click, we're going to paste. So that copies all of the timing for both tables, so they're both exactly the same. So now that our timing is safe and our fuel is safe, we will go ahead and write this to the truck, and then we can start logging our air fuel and timing and making sure we don't have any knock or anything like that. So I will see you in the truck. Okay, so just went and did a couple pulls. On the manual boost controller, I got it up to about 10 pounds. At least that's what it said on the boost gauge. On the scanner here, this is the scanner part of HP Tuners. This is basically where you get all your data. You log, and it takes all the information, and then you interpret that and then apply that to your tune. So this is a log of what I just done. So if you go to, this is my wideband air fuel error, and this is on so this is manifold pressure. So obviously the lower the manifold pressure, the less boost, and of course anything over 100 kPa is boost. And also on top here, this is going by engine RPM. So on a couple of these pools, it looks like I'm a little lean to what I'm commanding. So what I mean by that, I'm going to go to, so this was a little pool here. I don't think I got up to red line. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. So this got, you can see how the little blue cursor on the scanner is moving as I'm moving the cursor down here. So this one got to 5,500 RPM, 100% throttle there. I got to 155 kPa, which is not 10 pounds, I don't think. Oh, there's 172. Okay. So we know that the commanded was 11.24 and the actual was 11.4 over here in this corner here. So it's a little lean than what I commanded based on the wideband. So what we're going to do here on this table, all these numbers here that are red are actually leaner than what you've commanded, and everything up here is anything that's green is richer than what you've commanded. So what we need to do is we need to apply these numbers to our VE table, so that way the computer can command the correct amount of fuel for what you're requesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this whole table. Some of these numbers are a bit exaggerated. Some of these are probably only hit once or twice, and it might be a false. Some more of these that are under 10 are basically what is more real, because we can go to here to count. Yeah, so some of these high numbers were only hit a few times, so those are probably false readings to a point. So I'm going to take everything from 100 kPa up, and I'm going to highlight it all. So then that way I can apply this to the boosted areas of my VE table. So we're going to highlight that. We're going to hit right click. We're going to copy with Axis. And then we're going to go down to our tune file. We're going to go over here to airflow. And then we're going to go down here to main VE table. So this is your main VE table. This is where all your fuel is basically calculated from. So the higher the numbers, the more fuel it is requesting. The lower the numbers, the less fuel it's requesting. So what we're going to do is, since we just went on a data log, we're going to actually collect this whole table. We're going to right click, we're going to paste special, and we're going to multiply percent and then divide by half. So I don't want to overshoot it because it was only 4%, around there off, so I don't want to overshoot it. So if I apply that 4%, it's probably going to be a couple percent rich. So what I like to do when it's less than 7% or 6%, I like to multiply and then divide by half and kind of work my way, chisel my way at it a little bit slower so I don't overshoot. So we're going to click on that, and if we click off here, so all those numbers that I selected in my scanner, so you can see all these different pink numbers here, these were all applied. So now this is a little bit closer to the correct fueling that I am requesting. So again, let me go back to the scanner here. And then we're going to go back to the upper portion here. And I'm going to select basically everything here. And then I might take out, so I gotta, this is going to be hard to do with one hand, but basically we're going to take off that one, anything that's over 10 in this box, we're going to take that out, this. Okay, so we are now going to right click, copy with Axis, go back to our tune file, select the whole graph, paste special, multiply, and then all those numbers that I selected before, they're now applied over in this area. So this added fuel over here, or I'm sorry, this took away fuel a little bit over here, and this added fuel down in here, without having the exaggerated numbers over in the other area. So I'm going to apply this to the tune, or to the truck, and then we'll log again and we'll see how close it is, and we'll go from there. Okay, just got back from the second pull. I was just going over the data log. You can see that over in here, the fuel and the boosted areas became much closer. So, we're within 1%, 2%. We're a little lean over here, but basically everything is within a few percent of the actual AFR, air fuel ratio. So I'm pretty happy with that. Everything in the boosted area looks really good, so I'm going to be okay with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start adding a degree or two of timing up top past the peak torque, which I think on this motor is close to 4,000. I think 3,600, 4,000 RPM. So I'll start adding a couple degrees up there to see if it'll pick up any power as far as I can feel. Obviously, I won't know. Basically, I'm going to the racetrack tomorrow. They're having a Chevy show, and normally I wouldn't bring this truck to race because it's really not built for that. But they have a class called Heavy Chevy, and it is basically trucks and SUVs, and it's 13.5 index racing. So I think on 6 pounds, this truck did a 14.9 at 99 miles an hour. So if I add a couple pounds of boost, I'm hoping to get low 14s if I can get this thing to launch. So that's what I'm doing. So we're going to see what it does tomorrow. But what I'm going to do now is start adding some timing. I just wanted to go over basics on how to tune a vehicle in general, but steps that I'm taking to increase the boost, what is required as far as fuel and timing. I'm also probably going to enable closed loop now because I'm happy with the VE table in the boosted area. So then that way my O2 sensors can, keep everything around storage, during cruising and everything. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.